All right. So, Adam, take it away.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Alright. For those who do not already know me, my name is Adam Scott Critchell, and I am a sophomore here at the Grace Lake campus, majoring in communication sciences and disorders. Before I even begin speaking, I would just like to thank ASA and all of the other organizations that put on tonight's event together for planning such a wonderful evening and hosting me. I was asked to speak at this evening's event as part of a campaign that this school's chapter of Phi Theta Kappa is putting on together. Without going into too much detail about what this campaign is, we are pretty much doing a research question and exploring it in depth for a project that we have to do called the Honors in Action Project. This year, we are discussing the hypothesis that beauty is often a way for society to depict its vulgarity. With the fashion show that we saw tonight, different cultures portrayed their ideals of beauty and how proud that they can be. However, how about when these cultures shift their values towards a more negative side of beauty? That is what I plan on focusing on tonight, as I have had experiences that are defined by this longing to be considered as, quote, unquote, beautiful. It all started at the beginning of my freshman year of high school. Honestly, I was considered overweight and not attractive according to most societal standards. I was often made fun of for my appearance, and it was truly devastating. I began to visualize the emphasis that society around me placed on appearance, and I couldn't take that I wasn't good enough to fit into this mold. Thus, I started on a path to change what I hated most about me, my image. After a few months of my first year of high school, I developed anorexia nervosa in a desperate plea for my body to shed the weight that I had. When I look back on it, this wasn't the way to go. The only foods that I would eat for months on end were sliced bell peppers, pretzels, and the occasional granola bar. Essentially, I would go to school, do minimal schoolwork, and then I would go home and pass out for the rest of the day, as I had no energy to keep myself going. My body couldn't keep up with the self-destructive habits that I had going. By sophomore year of high school, I lost a significant amount of weight and began looking a way that I considered as more attractive. But I just couldn't stop these harmful habits that I had begun. I knew I had to start eating again, so I decided that I should try something new. Binging and purging, a disorder known as bulimia. This disorder was something that lasted for years. I was able to eat and have energy to do other things than just school, all while looking the part that I felt society wanted me to. I thought that it was great. I began to have more friends, I started to feel more motivation, and I finally viewed myself as attractive. But this was all just an illusion. Whenever I would go out to eat with friends, I would have to go to the bathroom for roughly 20 minutes and get rid of what I just consumed. I had to lie to those that cared about me just so they wouldn't know what I had just done. I couldn't even go to the cafeteria at school to eat, as I didn't want to have to throw up during school. This disorder was embarrassing. I was so afraid of food that I tried not to go out often, because I didn't want to look as weird in the eyes of others. But in the end, the easiest way to put it, this sucked. I wanted to stop this disorder so badly as I hoped to live a normal life, but I so desperately desired to be seen as good looking in the eyes of others. To this day, some of the impacts of this disorder are still very present in my life. It has been a struggle that I deal with on an almost daily basis, but I have learned to cope with them and focus on what I consider as attractive, as opposed to what society believes. I understand that some of what I have talked about thus far may be a little hard to hear, but it is the horrendous truth for thousands of individuals, especially for those among most of our age groups. According to NEDA, the National Eating Disorder Association, approximately 6.5% of American adolescent youth has some sort of an eating disorder. This is a certain sizable proportion of society, but a fact that is mostly thought of as some sort of a myth. Maybe if we all felt a little more open to addressing this problem, we could help some of these individuals. But overall, the point of me sharing my story tonight isn't to evoke some sort of pity or even sorrow from you guys. My hope is to get a conversation going about the effects of different societal portrayals of beauty in terms of image, fashion, height, and yes, of weight. By subjecting myself to a discussion about such a hidden topic, it is my hope that I can get others talking too. Almost all of our idealizations of beauty can be extremely vulgar at times, but in other instances, they can evoke messages of both companionship and of uniqueness. I think that the events of this evening have shown both of these ideals as something that is not perfect, but is not flawed either. To reference tonight's fashion show, though the trends from the Asian culture were exemplary, it is also important to note that the Asian culture places their own significance on such societal beauty standards. The desire to have bigger eyes and fairer skin is one that holds great urgency for many within the Asian culture. So much so that a number of Asians choose to undergo double eyelid surgeries and skin whitening procedures in an attempt to be viewed as what they think is more alluring. It is this occurrence that brought me to the conclusion that culture doesn't always shape beauty, but beauty often shapes culture. I hope that we can remember these thoughts and feel just a little bit more inclined to talk about them throughout the future. Now, I would like to begin a roundtable discussion led by the other PTK officers and myself in order to discuss what beauty and vulgarity means to all of us within this room. This will be located right across the hallway. Please feel free to partake in this discussion as it can give us all a new perspective on such topics. But before I pass on tonight's event to this roundtable, I would just like to sincerely thank all of you for lending me your ears tonight. Without individuals who are willing to listen and to make a difference, society wouldn't be able to progress in the ways that we have been. And to conclude on a more optimistic note, I just want to say that we can all overcome the struggles that we have, no matter how big or how small that they are. With other caring and understanding individuals, we can conquer these feats together. Thank you all for your time.
I could not have said that any better. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Adam.
All right, so thank you, ASA, for having us tonight and for this beautiful event that you and Latino Alliance and other clubs put together.
But of course, it was not without you and all the other clubs that we could have made this possible. And honestly, you have our heartfelt thanks, because without you guys, this wouldn't have been anything as great as what it was right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to give a thanks to all of the volunteers, models, and people who participated here, because without them, it wouldn't be much of a show. So, again, thank you. This has been quite a show. I can't say how proud I feel right now. This is my first year in ASA, so quite the show. Thank you.
Yes, very much. Now we'd like to get a round of applause for all our volunteers outside, in the back, and upstairs. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys all so much for the night.
You guys have no idea how much time was put into this event. I hope each and every single one of you enjoy this moment.
get the discussion out there. If you guys want to join Adam. Sorry.
It's a very important discussion following up on what he was talking about earlier. But overall, that concludes the talent show for today. I'd like to thank each and every one of you again for coming out and supporting us. It's been great having you here, and I hope you guys were entertained by all of our performances and modeling.
Thank you.
Thank you. We also have refreshments and Jello outside if you guys are interested.
That's
I hope you guys have a
yummy
great day.
horchata.
Yeah, we got
and
some.
gelatina.
Yeah, gelatina.
Jello.
All right, thank you guys.